The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, better known as NOAA, has released its 2023 Atlantic hurricane forecast.
And hurricane season officially begins next week. NOAA expects a near normal hurricane season that includes 12 to 17 named storms, 5 to 9 that could become hurricanes, and 1 to 4 that could become major hurricanes. Last season, we saw Hurricane Ian bring widespread damage to Florida and the Carolinas. NOAA's lead hurricane season forecaster, Matthew Rosencrans, joins us now. Okay, Matthew, so if I live in a hurricane-prone area, what does this forecast mean? And at this point, should I start preparing or should I just kind of wait and see what the season brings?
You should absolutely start preparing now. Ready.gov, listo.gov, and hurricanes.gov/prepare have all the information you would need to assess your risk, understand what plans you might, understand where you get your emergency information from, and even how to construct a family plan so your family can remain safe.
You know, Matthew, I was just in Fort Myers and saw that they still haven't finished rebuilding after their last hurricane. It is good news that the upcoming season is expected to be less active than in recent years. But talk to us about people who are planning and what really goes into all of those predictions.
So it takes a long time to rebuild. It takes a long time to build in the first place, and then sometimes it can take even longer to rebuild because you have to clear out first. So that's where multiple storms in one area can be really impactful. As far as what goes into our outlooks, we use our numerical models. People are used to seeing them, the American, the European, the other versions of them that go into the hurricane outlooks and the spaghetti diagrams. We have versions of those that run out for 5, 6, 7, 8 months into the future. We use those. We use a lot of statistics that look back on past years, and relate sea surface temperatures and wind patterns. And so we have multiple different versions of those statistical tools as well. And then we have tools that are kind of combinations of those and give us optimal combinations of what all those things tell us. And the forecast team gets together and discusses all the pros and cons of each one of those tools. And we come to a consensus among myself, people from the Hurricane Center, and people from the Meteorological Laboratory for the Atlantic Ocean.
Now, I know from trying to cover hurricanes, predicting where exactly they're going to fall and when can be very difficult. CBS News correspondent Chris Van Cleve and I once started in Charleston, drove to Jacksonville, then Fort Myers, then Miami. But when it comes to the whole season forecast, how accurate have your predictions been over the years? And what does your outlook for this year mean in terms of the impacts of climate change?
So our goal is to have these outlooks hit correctly 70% of the time. My last analysis, which I update every year, was that we're hitting at 67% of the time. So we're pretty close to our goal. And that does include some early years where our tools weren't as refined, and every year our tools get better and better. So we're getting closer and closer to that 70% goal. So
as far as climate change, what does this prediction mean? Is this a good sign that it's going to be a relatively normal hurricane season, or has the threshold just increased as to what we're considering normal?
The threshold hasn't changed. We still consider about 126 on the ACE, which ACE is a total measure of the entire year. That's how we define our above, near, and below. So climate change would have more of an impact on rainfall rates in storms, winds on all the storms altogether. So we'd see it more in the ACE calculation. There's been no definitive link found in data that we have to date between climate change and numbers of storms in the Atlantic basin. And that's the latest state of the science that was updated about a month ago between researchers and NOAA, the Hurricane Center specialists, and the team here.
All right, Matthew Rosencrans, thank you.